Why am I not moving? What the heck? VTube Studio when it doesn't work? VTube Studio when it decides not to work today? Oh no. Is this good? This is bad? Anyways, I need to fix the thing again because for some reason... Hold on. We got this. There we go. There you guys are. Okay. But even nothing is working today. My buttons are being pushed. Anyways, good morning, every pony. Don't know why everything is like not working today, but nothing is working today, and sometimes it's just like that. Yeah, where is the tab with the actual book on it? Anyways, yeah, I am alive. Hello, every pony. Good morning. I am awake. I am sleepy. I did not drink a cup of coffee because I woke up 30 minutes before stream, so my voice sounds like this. Woohoo. See, as always, that there is more gender discussion in the chat as per usual. Fun times. Let me adjust my microphone. La 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 la. Okay. I don't really know what else to say. We're reading Demian today. Am I awake enough to read Demian today? That's a wonderful question. Let me like zoom in. The words are so tiny. La 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 la. You straight up e-booking it. La 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 la. Where is it? This is... I am far from where chapter 2 starts. Where does chapter 2 start? There it is. There's chapter 2. I am locked in. Let's hope I finish before stream ends. Hell yeah. While we read chapter 2 of Demian today. I don't really know what else to start with other than I am quite sleepy. Because I had this really weird nightmare. I don't even know if it was a nightmare, but I did wake up like in a cold sweat from it. And I was like, why did I dream of that? I don't know. It was like something about the Grim Reaper, but if the Grim Reaper wore like... Maybe it's because I dreamt about pretty clothes. And that's why that's why the stream wanted it to be Infinity Nikki today. But we're not doing Infinity Nikki today. We're doing Demian because he is a little fruit, and by he I mean Sinclair. That's not to say Demian himself isn't a little fruit, but Sinclair's more than a little fruit. Sinclair is a whole bundle of bananas. Grim Reaper, I hardly even know her. No, I'll shut up. But yeah, here we are today reading Demian. Let's see if my speed reading skills are up to par today. Okay. Deliverance from my troubles came from quite an unexpected quarter, and with it something new entered into my life, which has up to the present day exercised a strong influence. A short time before we had actually, I should let me pause. I should mention that I'm probably gonna do one chapter a stream for these, just because Demian is like relatively short. So today we're gonna be focusing on chapter 2. Okay. A short time before we had a new boy at our Latin school. He was the son of a well-to-do widow who had moved to our town. He was in mourning and wore a crepe band round his sleeve. His form was above mine, and he was several years older, but I soon began to take notice of him, as did all of us. This remarkable boy impressed one as being much older than he looked. He made on no one the impression of being a mere schoolboy. With us childish youngsters, he was as distant as mature as man, or rather as a gentleman. He was by no means popular. He took part in no games, much less in the fooling. It was only the self-conscious and decided tone which he adopted towards the masters that pleased the others. His name was Max Demian. Oh! Demian, but it's filled with outline marker notes from Limbus Cromer after she read the book. Yeah, okay. Max Demian, and it's just like crossed out, and it's just here it's like nuh-uh, and then here it's like yeah he wasn't, here he's like lame. And that's exactly how she would annotate that. One day, it happened, as it occasionally did in our school, that for some cause or other, another class was sent into our large schoolroom. It was Demian's form. We little ones were having biblical history. The big ones had to write an essay. While we were having the story of Cain and Abel knocked into us, I kept looking across at Demian, whose face fascinated me strangely, and saw his wise, bright, more than ordinarily strong features bent attentively and thoughtfully over his task. He did not look at all like a schoolboy doing an exercise, but like a research worker solving a problem. I did not find him really agreeable. On the contrary, I had one or two little things against him. With me, he was too distant and superior, he was much too provokingly sure of himself, and the expression of his eyes was that of an adult, which children never like, rather sad with occasional flashes of scorn. Yet I could not resist looking at him, whether I liked him or not, but the minute he looked in my direction, I looked away, somewhat frightened. If today I consider what he looked like as a schoolboy, I can say that he was in every respect different from the others, and bore the stamp of a striking personality and therefore attracted attention, but at the same time he did everything to prevent himself from being remarked. He bore and conducted himself like a disguised prince who finds himself among peasant boys, and makes every effort to appear like them. Tsundere Sinclair. I didn't know he, that kind of explains a lot. He's tsundere. It's been a minute since I've read the book, so I'm kind of re-remembering things, and it's so he didn't like Demian at first. How interesting. He was behind me on the way home from school. When the others had run on, he overtook me and said, "Hello." Even his manner of greeting, although he imitated our schoolboy tone of voice, was polite and like that of a grown-up person. "Shall we go a little way together?" he questioned in a friendly way. I was flattered and nodded. Then I described to him where I lived. "Oh, there," he said laughingly. "I know the house already. There is a remarkable work of art over your door, which interested me at once." I did not guess immediately to what he was referring, and was astonished that he seemed to know our house better than I did. There was indeed a sort of crest which served as a keystone over the arch of our door, but in course of time it had become faint and had often been painted over. As far as I knew, it had nothing to do with us, or with our family. Yaoi, I volunteer. Oh my gosh. Are we popcorn reading? Just kidding. Just kidding. You guys, I can't hear you guys. I can only read you guys. Whoa, not like that. Whoa there, cowboy. Where are we? Okay, here, dialogue. "I don't know anything about it," I said timidly. "It's a bird, or something like it. It must be very old. They say that the house at one time belonged to the abbey." "Very likely," he nodded. "We'll have another good look at it. Such things are often interesting. It is a hawk, too? No, sorry, I think." We continued our way. I was considerably embarrassed. Suddenly, Demian laughed, as if something funny had struck him. "Oh, I was present at your lesson," he said with animation. "The story of Cain, who carried the mark on his forehead, was it not? Do you like it?" Generally, I used not, oh my god. I didn't like how distant he was, but I couldn't stop looking at him, paying attention to his mannerisms and noticing how attractive he was. Oh, Sinclair. Not beating the tsundere allegations. Not that there really were many allegations, because he's kind of normal in Limbus company, but in the book, get your bird, catboy. Okay. Let's see. Generally, I used not to like anything of all the things we had to learn, but I did not dare to say so. It was as though a grown-up person were talking to me. I said I liked the story very much. Demian tapped me on the shoulder. "No need to impose on me, old fellow, but the story is really rather remarkable. I think it is much more remarkable than most of the others we get at school. The master didn't say very much about it, only the usual things about God and sin, etc. But I believe..." He broke off, smiled, and questioned, "But does it interest you?" "Well," he continued, "I think one can conceive the story of Cain quite differently. Most things we are taught are certainly quite true and right, but one can consider them all from a different standpoint from the masters, and most of them have a much better meaning then. For instance, we can't be quite content with the explanation given us with this regard to this fellow Cain and the mark on his forehead. Don't you find it so too? It certainly might happen that he should kill one of his brothers in a quarrel. It is also possible that he should afterwards be afraid and have to come down a peg, but that he should be singled out into the bargain with a decoration for his cowardice, which protects him and strikes terror into everyone else. That is really rather odd." "Certainly," I said, interested. The case began to interest me. But how else should one explain the story? He clapped me on the shoulder. Yeah, new sub, and this is my intro. Hi, welcome in. We are in fact reading Demian, and I guess this is yaoi. Yep, because look at the way they're talking about each other. I know they're talking about Cain and Abel, but the way they're interacting with each other, it's getting there. This is how it starts. Let's see. "Certainly," I said, interested. I already read that part. "Quite simply, the essential fact, and the point of departure of the story, was the sign. Here was a man who had something in his face which terrified other people. They did not dare to molest him. He made a big impression on them, he and his children. Perhaps, or rather certainly, it was not really a sign on his forehead like an office stamp. Things are not as simple as that in real life. I would sooner think it was something scarcely perceptible, of a peculiar nature." Oh my god, I can't read. "A little more intelligence and boldness in his look than people were accustomed to. This man had power. Other people shrank from him. He had a quote-unquote sign. One could explain that as one wished, and one always wishes what is convenient and agrees with one's opinions. People were afraid of Cain's children. They had a quote-unquote sign. And so they explained the sign not as it really was, a distinction, but as the contrary. The fellows with this sign were said to be peculiar, and they were courageous as well. People with courage and character are always called peculiar by other people. That a race of fearless and peculiar men should rove about was very embarrassing, and so people attached a surname and a story to this race, in order to revenge themselves on it, in order to compensate themselves more or less for all the terror with which it inspired them. Do you understand? Yes, that means to say then that Cain was not at all wicked, and the whole story in the Bible isn't really true? Yes and no. Such ancient primitive stories are always true, but they have not always been recorded and explained in the proper manner. In short, I mean that Cain was a thundering good fellow, and the story got attached to his name simply because people were afraid of him. The story was merely a report, something people might have set going in a gossiping way, and it was true insofar as Cain and his children did actually wear a sort of sign and were different from most people. I was much astonished. And do you believe, then, that the affair of the murder is absolutely untrue? I asked, much impressed. You know how funny it would be if Limbus Sinclair finally interacts with Damon in a low-stakes scenario and he does act tsundere? Oh my god. Please? Like, at the very end of Kanto 8, like, he and Dante are just, like, sitting at a bar, and then Damian walks in with his potato chips, and he's like, "Good evening, Sinclair." And Dante has to watch them, like, totally yaoi out. And Dante's sitting there, like, totally Fujoshiing out. Fujo Dante? What do we think, guys? What do we think about Fujo Dante? Dante with the yaoi paddle to discipline all the sinners when they're being bruh. And you believe then that the affair of the murder is absolutely untrue? I asked, much impressed. Not at all. It is certainly true. The strong man killed a weak one. One may doubt, of course, whether it was really his brother or not. It is not important, for in the end, all men are brothers. A strong man, then, has killed a weak one. Perhaps it was a deed of heroism, perhaps it was not. But in any case, the other weak people were terrified. They lamented and complained, and when they were asked, "Why don't you simply kill him as well?" they did not answer. "Because we are cowards," but they said instead, "You can't. He has a sign. God has singled him out. The humbug must have risen something after this style. Oh, I am keeping you from going in. Goodbye, then." Wow, what? How abrupt. Oh my goodness gracious. Dante is a supportive manager, thus they would be Fujo, exactly. Thank you for accepting the Fujoshi Dante agenda. Fugenda? Sorry. Okay, back to the book. He turned into Old Street and left me alone, more astonished than I had ever been before. Scarcely had he gone when everything that he had said seemed to me quite unbelievable. Cain, a noble fellow, Abel, a coward. Cain's sign, a distinction. It was absurd. It was blasphemous and infamous. What was God's part in the matter? Had he not accepted Abel's sacrifice? Did he not love Abel? Damian's story was nonsense. I suspected him of making fun of me and of wishing to mislead me. The devil of a clever fellow, and he could talk, but, well, still, I had never thought so much about any of the biblical or other stories before, and for some time past I had never so completely forgotten Frank Cromer, for hours, for a whole evening. At home, I read through the story once again, as it stands in the Bible, short and clear. It was quite foolish to try to find a special secret meaning, if it had one. Every murderer could look upon himself as a favorite of God. No, it was nonsense. But Damian had a nice way of saying such things, so easily and pleasantly, as if everything were self-evident. And then his eyes! Oh my god, this guy. Just say you're in love with him. Dante, your sinner is banging a guy with a blue scarf. Dante, you want to be in the room? No. Dante lost their memory, so there isn't something saying that they aren't a Fujoshi. Exactly. They're gonna, like, get one memory back, and it's gonna be like, yeah, and then I was looking at yaoi of the Sonk Association. And then his eyes. He's just not gonna elaborate on that. He's just gonna be like, oh no, now I'm confused. Yeah, I'm Sinclair. Talks about something weird, abruptly leaves, just like, it came Limbus Company? So true. He does do that in Limbus Company, doesn't he? Just so cryptic for no reason. My ideas were certainly a little upset, or rather they were very much confused. I had lived in a bright, clean world. I myself had been a sort of Abel, and now I was so firmly fixed in the other and had sunk so deeply. But really, what could I do to help it? What was my position now? A reminiscence glowed in me which for the moment almost took away my breath. I remembered that wretched evening, from which my present misery dated, when I looked for an instant into the heart of my father's bright world and despised his wisdom. Then I was Cain and bore the sign. I imagined that it was in no way shameful, but a distinction. In my wickedness and unhappiness, I stood on a higher level than my father, higher than good and pious people. It was not in such a clear-thinking way that my experience then presented itself to me, but all of this was contained therein. It was only a flaming up of feeling, of strange emotions which caused me pain and yet filled me with pride. When I considered the matter, I saw how strangely Demian had spoken of the fearless and the cowards, how curiously he had explained the mark on Cain's forehead, how singularly his eyes had lit up, those peculiar eyes of a grown person, and indistinctly it shot through my brain. Is not he himself, this Demian, a sort of Cain? Why did he defend him if he did not feel like him? Why had he this force in his gaze? Why did he speak so scornfully of the others, of the fearsome, who are really the pious and the well-considered of God? This is getting into a lot of territory I'm not understanding. I'm so sorry. How did I understand this the first time around? Maybe it's because of the version I read. Because this version is just like a free use version, and it's also a different translation, so it also could just be because I'm reading it out loud. Who knows? Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I've gotten stupider over the months. Anyways, this thought led me to no definite conclusion. A stone had fallen into the well, and the well was my young soul. And this business with Cain, the murder and the sign, was for a very long time, the point from which my seekings after knowledge, my doubts and my criticisms took their departure. I noticed that the other boys also occupied themselves a good deal with Demian. I had not told anyone of this version of the story of Cain, but he appeared to interest the others as well. At least, many rumors considering the new boy became current. If only I still knew all of them. Each would help to throw fresh light on him. Each would serve to interpret him. I only remember the first rumor was that Demian's mother was very rich. It was also said that she never went to church, nor the son either. Another rumor had it that they were Jews, but they could just as easily have been in secret Mohammedans. Furthermore, tales were told of Max Damian's strength. So much was certain that the strongest boy in his form, who challenged him to a fight and who at his refusal branded him coward, suffered a terrible humiliation at his hands. Those who were there said that Demian had simply taken him by the nape of the neck with one hand and had brought such a pressure to bear that the boy went white and afterwards crawled away, and that for several days he was unable to use his arm. For a whole evening, a rumor even ran out that he was dead. For a time, everything was asserted and believed, everything that was exciting and wonderful. Then there was a satiety of rumors for a while. Satiety? I don't really know how to say that out loud. I just know that it's a word that means satiated. A little, that like is similar to satiated. Hola, I heard me reading Demian. Hell yeah, we are. We're at the point where Demian appears and Sinclair's like, oh my god, what a mysterious guy. Kya, I sure hope this doesn't awaken anything in me, said Sinclair. Who thinks that much of another person? Exactly! Like, oh my god, you are dedicating a whole chapter to him. Let's see. A little later, new ones circulated, which asserted that Demian had intimate relations with girls and knew everything. Whoa. Demian bisexual confirmed? Let's see. Meanwhile, my affair with Frank Cromer took its inevitable course. I could not get away from him, for although he left me in peace for days together, I was still bound to him. In my dreams, he lived as my shadow, and thus my fantasy credited him with actions which he did not, in reality, do, so that in dreams I was absolutely his slave. I lived in these dreams. I was always a deep dreamer, more than in reality. Hehe, dreaming? Ayo, the dream ending? No. These shadowy conceptions wasted my strength and my life force. I often dreamed, among other things, that Cromer ill-treated me, that he spat on me and knelt on me and, what was worse, that he led me to commit grave crimes. Or rather, I was not led, but simply forced, through his powerful influence. The most terrible of these dreams, from which I woke up half-mad, presented itself as a murderous attack on my father. Cromer whetted a knife and put it in my hand, as we were standing behind the trees of a lane and lying in wait for someone, whom I knew not, but when someone came along and Cromer thought a pressure of the arm informed me that this was the man whom I was to stab, it turned out to be my father. Then I woke up. With all these troubles, I still thought a great deal about Cain and Abel, but much less about Demian. It was, strangely enough, in a dream that he first came in contact with me again. I dreamed once more of assault and ill treatment which I suffered, but instead of Cromer, this time it was Demian who knelt upon me, and what was quite new and profoundly impressive, here we go. Everything that I suffered resistingly and in torment at the hands of Cromer, I suffered willingly from Demian, with a feeling which was composed as much of joy as of fear. I had this dream twice, and then Cromer occupied his old position in my thoughts. You know, this is a normal thing to say about your classmate. Sinclair, the very normal thing to say about your classmate. The book is named Demian, thus you could say the entire book is dedicated to him. True. There is also There is also the other title of the book. I forgot what it was. It was like the reaccount of Sinclair, of Emile Sinclair or something. So, you know, it's just very centered about this guy. Sinclair, are you saying you would kill your dad if Damien asked you? You know, that is kind of what it's sounding like, huh? It is kind of what it's sounding like. Sinclair, you're just kind of, So the source of those golden rings is just how gay your source material is. Pretty much. Sinclair is so down bad, I know! I'm so glad we all have the same reaction to this paragraph. Because literally, who says something like this? Who says, oh yeah, this other guy was beating me up, and I was like, I really hated it, but this one guy did it, and I kind of like took joy in it. I was composed as much of joy as of fear, one would say. Because this is a very normal thing to say. Wow, shout out to Emile Sinclair for being the way he is. The pro is freaking it. Literally. Ahem. For a long time, I have not been able to separate what I experienced in these dreams from what I underwent in reality. But in any case, my evil relation with Cromer took its course, and was by no means at an end when I had at last, by petty thefts, paid the boy the sum owed. No, for now he knew of these thefts, and as he always asked me where the money came from, and I was more in his hands than ever, he frequently threatened to tell my father everything, and my terror then was scarcely as great as the profound regret that I had not myself done in the beginning. However miserable as I was, I did not repent of everything, at least not always, and sometimes felt, I thought, that things could not have helped being as they were. The hand of fate was upon me, and it was useless to want to break away. Weird Limbo Sinclair prediction. Damien will do something akin to what Cromer did to the village, but Sinclair will have no problem with it this time because Damien didn't. Honestly, I feel like that is something that could happen. Just because of the way things are going, because, like, we very much are in, like, the beginning stages of, like, the book, at least in terms of Sinclair's development. So it's like, it very well could happen. And I think that is, like, I don't know if you said that jokingly, but, like, it is an interesting prediction to what could happen inside Limbo's company, you know? Let's see. Where are we? I conjecture that my parents suffered not a little in these circumstances. A strange spirit had come over me. I no longer fitted into our community which had been so intimate, and for which I often felt a maddening homesickness. As for a lost paradise, lost, ayo. I was treated, particularly by mother, more like a sick person than like a miserable wretch. But the actual state of affairs I was able to observe best in the conduct of my two sisters. It was quite evident from their behavior, which was very considerate and which yet caused me endless pain, that I was a sort of person possessed, who was more to be pitied than blamed for his condition, but yet in whom evil had taken up residence. I felt that I was being prayed for in a different way I can't speak. Is this a bedtime story? It could be. It could be if you want it to be. You could fall asleep to it. You could fall asleep to me totally like Fujoing out right now. I didn't say it jokingly. I like the idea of something insane like Damien desecrating Sinclair's family's bodies like Cromer did, and the sinners freaking out at how okay Sinclair is about it. That is fun to think about. What else? Like, Damien also has like the power, like canonically has the power to like possibly desecrate a whole village. So in theory, he could also just do that, and Sinclair would be like, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm kind of like okay with this, and everyone else is like, Sinclair, what the hell? And Sinclair's like, ah. And Damien's just sitting there in the background like, haha, I desecrated a whole village for you, Sinclair. Let's go, I'm about to fall asleep to this. Hell yeah. Okay, where are we? I felt that I was being paralyzed in a different way from formerly, and realized the fruitlessness of these prayers. I often felt burning within me an intense longing for relief, an ardent desire for a full confession, and yet I realized in advance that I should not be able to tell everything to father and mother properly, an explanation of my conduct. I knew that I should be received in a friendly way, that much consideration and compassion would be shown me, but that I should not be completely understood. The whole affair would have been looked upon as a sort of backsliding, whereas it was really the work of destiny. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm just gonna leave the stream open and nap. It's 11 p.m. You should do that. Okay, guys? This is just a bedtime stream, even though I literally just woke up. This is a bedtime stream now. Sinclair saluting when a bad bitch tells him to do something. Bro folds so fast. So fast. I know that many people will not believe that a child scarcely 11 years old could feel thus, but I am not relating my affairs for their benefit. My narration is for those who know mankind better. The grown-up person who has learned to convert part of his feelings into thoughts feels the absence of these ideas in a child, and comes to believe that the experiences are likewise lacking. But they have seldom been so vivid, and not often in my life have I suffered as keenly as then. You just like me for real, for real. This is the bedtime story. I hope when you guys go to sleep, you also dream of a hot classmate also stepping on you and being like, go commit a crime, and you're like, okay, whatever you do, hot classmate. I hope that is exactly what you dream about tonight. One rainy day, I was ordered by my tormentor to Castle Place, and there I stood, waiting and digging my feet in the wet chestnut leaves, which were still falling regularly from the black dripping branches. Money I had none, but I had brought with me 2 pieces of cake that I had stolen in order to at least be able to give Cromer something. I had long since been accustomed to stand about in any odd corner waiting for him, often for a very long time, and I put up with the unalterable. Cromer came at last. That day he did not stay long. He poked me several times in the ribs, laughed, took the cake, and even offered me a moldy cigarette, which, however, I did not accept. He was more friendly than usual. Oh, he said as he went away, before I forget, next time you can bring your sister along, the elder one. What's her name? Now tell the truth. I did not understand, and gave no answer. I only looked at him wonderingly. Don't you get me? You must bring your sister along. But Cromer, that won't do. I mustn't do that, and besides, she wouldn't come. I thought this was only another pretext for vexing me. He often did that, requiring me to do something impossible and so terrifying me. And often, after humiliating me, he would by degrees become more tractable. I then had to buy myself off with money or some other gift. This time he was quite different. He was really not at all angry at my refusal. Well, he said airily, you'll think about it, won't you? I should like to make your sister's acquaintance. It will not be so difficult. You simply take her out for a walk, and then I come along. Tomorrow I'll whistle for you, and then we can talk more about it. When he had gone, a glimpse of the meaning of his request dawned on me. I was still quite a child, but I knew by hearsay that boys and girls, when they were somewhat older, did things which were forbidden, things of a secret and scandalous nature. And now I should also have to. It was suddenly quite clear to me how monstrous it was. I immediately resolved never to do that, but I scarcely dared think of what would happen in that case and how Cromer would revenge himself on me. A new torment began. I had not yet been tortured enough. I walked disconsolately across the empty square, my hands in my pockets. Fresh torments, a new servitude. Man, we out here. Ahem. Suddenly, a fresh, deep voice called to me. I was terrified and began to run on. Someone ran after me. A hand gripped me from behind. It was Max DEMIAN. I let myself be taken prisoner. I surrendered. It's you? I said uncertainly. You frightened me so. He looked at me, and never had his glance been more like that of an adult, of a superior and penetrating person. For a long time past, we had not spoken with one another. Plot twist, Cromer actually spared Sinclair's sister, became besties, and now she's to replace her as Sinclair's encore counterpart. You know, I feel like that's not totally out there. You know? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, because in the CG, wasn't it just like one sister? I don't know. Like, it is an adaptation at the end of the day, but the CG had one sister. Unless they decided, like, to, like, totally cut out the other sister, which they probably did. But in theory, hear me out. There is another sister who is actively working for Encore, and that's what happened. And, yeah, but I don't know how much attention they paid to the sisters in the story, because high-key, they're just, I don't even know if they get any actual dialogue. But, you know, it could be possible. Who knows? Okay. I am sorry, he said in his courteous and at the same time very determined manner. But listen, you mustn't let yourself be frightened like that. Oh, that can happen sometimes. So it appears. But look here, if you shrink like that from someone who hasn't hurt you, then this someone begins to think. It makes him curious. He wonders what can be the matter. This somebody thinks to himself how awfully frightened you are, and he thinks further. One is only like that when one is terrified. Cowards are always frightened, but I believe you aren't really a coward. Ain't I right? Of course you aren't a hero either. There are things of which you are afraid. There are also people of whom you are afraid. And that should never be. No one should ever be afraid of other people. You aren't afraid of me. Or are you, perhaps? Oh no, of course not. There, you see? But there are people you are afraid of. I don't know. Let me go. What do you want of me? He kept pace with me. I was going quicker with the idea of escaping. I felt his look directed on me from the side. I love Toxic Yuri. Yeah! You want a Toxic Yuri fan art that would actually be born if it actually happened? Okay, guys. New OC? New OC, guys? Are you thinking of a new Limbus OC who is Sinclair's long-lost sister and who works for Encore and is also madly in love with Cromer and was, like, absolutely, like, despairing over her death? Ayo, is this what we're going with now? It's actually Reginald? No. I'm kidding. Okay, we're back to the book. Back to the book. Just assume, he began again, that I mean well with you. In any case, you need not be afraid of me. I would very much like to try and experiment with you. It's funny, and you can learn something that's very useful. Listen, I often practice an art which is called mind reading. There's no witchcraft in it, but it seems very peculiar if one doesn't know how to do it. You can surprise people very much with it. Well, let us try it. I like you, or I interest myself in you, and I would like to find out what your real feelings are. I have already made the first step towards doing that. I have frightened you. You are then easily frightened. There are things in people of which and of whom you were afraid. Why is it? One need be afraid of no one. If you fear somebody, then it is due to the fact that he has power over you. For example, you have done something wrong, and the other person knows it. Then he has power over you. Do you get me? It's clear, isn't it? I looked helplessly into his face, which was serious and prudent as always, and kind as well, but without any tenderness. His features were rather severe. Righteousness or something akin lay therein. I was not conscious of what was happening. He stood like a magician over me. Have you understood? He questioned again. I nodded. I could not speak. I told you mind reading looked rather strange, but the process is quite natural. I could, for example, tell you more or less exactly what you thought about me once I told you the story of Cain and Abel, but that has nothing to do with the matter at hand. I also think it possible that you have dreamed of me, but let's leave that out. You're a clever kid. Most of them are so stupid. Okay. Okay, man. Love story between Sinclair, Damon Cromer, and Damian's sister, and Damian's mom, Eva. That is a polygon. That is a whole pentagon, actually. That is a crazy shape. This is just a good bedtime story. All I need now is bacon and eggs and a candle. That's good. That's good. Based Damian? Based Damian? He could be. He could be. Most of them are so stupid. I like talking now and then with a clever fellow whom I can trust. You have no objections, have you? Oh no, only I don't understand. Let's keep to our old experiment. We have found that the boy S is easily frightened. He is afraid of somebody. He apparently shares a secret with this other person, which causes him disquietude. Is that about right? As in a dream, I lay under the influence of his voice, of his personality. I only nodded. Was not a voice talking there, which could only come from myself, which knew all in a better, clearer way than I myself? Damon gave me a powerful slap on the shoulder. That's right then, I thought so. Now just one question more. Do you know the name of the boy who has just gone away? I sank back. He had the key to my secret, the secret which twisted back inside me as if it did not want to see the light. What sort of a fellow? There was no one there except myself. He laughed. Don't be afraid to tell me, he said laughingly. What's his name? I whispered. Do you mean Frank Cromer? He nodded contentedly. Bravo! You're a smart chap. We shall be good friends yet. But now I must tell you something else. This Cromer, or whatever his name is a nasty fellow. His face tells me he's a rascal. What do you think? Oh yes, I sobbed out. He is nasty. He's a devil. But he mustn't know anything. For God's sake, he mustn't know anything. Do you know him? Does he know you? Don't worry. He's gone and he doesn't know me. Not yet. But I should like to make his acquaintance. He goes to the public school? Yes. And which standard? In the 5th. But don't say anything to him. Please don't say anything to him. Don't worry. Nothing will happen to you. I suppose you wouldn't like to tell me a little more about this fellow Cromer? I can't! No, let me go! He was silent for a while. It's a pity, he said. We might have been able to carry the experiment still further. But I don't want to bother you. You know, don't you, that it is not right of you to be afraid of him? Such fear quite undermines us. You must get rid of it. You must get rid of it if you want to become a real man. Do you understand? Certainly, you are quite right. But it won't do. You don't know. You have seen that I know a lot, more than you thought. Do you owe him any money? Yes, I do, but that isn't the essential point. I can't tell. I can't. It won't help matters then if I give you the amount you owe him. I could very well let you have it. No, that is not the point. And please, don't say anything to anybody. Not a word. You are making me miserable. Rely on me, Sinclair. Later you can share your secrets with me. Never! Never! I exclaimed vehemently. Just as you please. I only mean perhaps you will tell me something more later on. Only of your free will you understand. Surely you don't think I shall act like Cromer? Oh no, but you don't even know anything about it. Absolutely nothing. But I think about it, and I shall never act like Cromer, believe me. Besides, you don't owe me anything. We remained in a long time silent, and I became more tranquil, but Damian's knowledge became more and more of a puzzle to me. I'm going home now, he said, and in the rain he drew his coat more closely about him. I should only like to repeat one thing to you, since we have gone so far in the matter. You ought to get rid of this fellow. If there's nothing else to be done, then kill him! Then kill him! I like reading old books because it's just closeted yaoi 7 out of 10 times. Yeah. The closet is glass here. The closet is absolutely glass here. Ancient Rome has a job just for femboys. Well, I mean, this did take place like a while after Ancient Rome. So, yeah. Kevin sure is gonna make a real man of Sinclair. Ayo. Okay, does mean happy. It does. And I don't even know what's going on anymore. This certainly was our 1900s novel. Okay. Then kill him, he says, as if that's a normal thing. It would impress me and please me if you were to do that. Besides, I would help you. I will help you kill your bully, he says, even though they've known they've spoken to each other like twice. And he's like, I will help you kill your bully. Repressed homosexuality leads to murder. It sure does. At least in this case, apparently. Shout out to Emile Sinclair. I was once again terrified. I suddenly remember the story of Cain. I had an uncanny feeling and I began to cry softly. So much that was weird seemed to surround me. All right, Max Damian said smilingly. Go home now. We will put things square, although murder would have been the simplest. In such matters, the simplest way is always the best. You aren't in good hands with your friend Cromer. I came home and it seemed to me as if I had been away a year. Everything looked different. Between myself and Cromer there now stood something like future freedom, something like hope. I was lonely no longer. He didn't say no to the murder thing. He didn't say no to the murder thing, but okay, Sinclair. And then I realized for the first time how terribly lonely I had been for weeks and weeks, and I immediately recollected what I had on several occasions turned over in my mind, that a confession to my parents would afford me relief and yet would not quite liberate me. Now I had almost confessed to another, to a stranger, and as if a strong perfume had been wafted to me, sensed the presentiment? I don't know how to say that word either, I just know that it's a word, of salvation. Still, my fear was far from being overcome, and I was still prepared for long and terrible mental wrestlings with that evil genius. So it was all the more remarkable to me that everything passed off so secretly and quietly. If your bro isn't willing to kill your bully, is he really your bro? Exactly. And that's what makes their friendship so wonderful. Sinclair overcomes the test of character of not killing someone the moment his crush tells him to. Yeah. Typical 11-year-old boy things. Teehee. You just back and forth bully each other, aka just a friendship. You know? I don't know if that's how friendships worked in the 1900s. I wouldn't know. I was born 100 years after the 1900s, so shrug, but it could be. It could be. Ahem. I feel so hydrated. I'm gonna gag, wait. Excuse me. Sorry if you heard any of that, that was gross. My meds when they do their medicine things, but they also do the gross medicine things like making me nauseous. Okay. Let's see. Cromer's whistle remained absent from our house for a day, 2 days, 3 days, a whole week. I dared not believe my senses and lay inwardly on the watch to see whether he would not suddenly stand before me. Just at that moment, when I should expect him no longer. But he was and remained away. Distrustful of my new freedom, I still could not bring myself to believe in it wholeheartedly. Until at last I met Frank Cromer. He was coming down the street, straight in my direction. When he saw me, he drew himself together, twisted his features in a brutal grimace, and turned away without more ado, in order to avoid meeting me. That was a wonderful moment for me. My enemy ran away from me. My devil was afraid of me. Surprise and joy shook me through and through. In a few days, Damian showed himself once again. He waited for me outside the school. Hello, I said. Good morning, Sinclair. I only wanted to hear how you're getting on. Cromer leaves you in peace, doesn't he? Did you manage that? But how did you do it? How? I don't understand it. He hasn't come near me. Splendid. If he should come again, I don't think he will, but he's a cheeky fellow, then simply tell him to remember Damian. But what does it all mean? Have you had a fight with him and thrashed him? No, I'm not so keen on that. I simply talked to him, as I did to you, and I made it clear to him that it is to his own advantage to leave you in peace. Oh, but you haven't given him any money? No, kid. You have already tried that way yourself. I attempted to pump him on the matter, but he disengaged himself. The old embarrassed feeling concerning him came over me. An odd mixture of gratitude and shyness, of admiration and fear, of affection and inward resistance. I had the intention of seeing him again soon, and then I wanted to talk more about everything, about the Cain affair as well. But I did not see him. Gratitude is not one of the virtues in which I believe, and to require it of a child would seem to me wrong. So I do not wonder very much at the complete ingratitude which I evinced towards Max Damian. Today I believe positively that I should have been ruined for life if he had not freed me from Cromer's clutches. At that time, also, I already felt this release as the greatest event of my young life, but I left the deliverer on one side as soon as he had accomplished the miracle. Page 52. How far are we into the thing? Quite. Oh, we're not even. We're pretty close to the end of this actually. To who? I was born like 18 years ago. How many years has it been since the 1900s? At least like 3, right? Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Pshaw. I think Sinclair and Damien should have been forced to play Undertale. You know, Undertale could have saved him. He's 11 here, right? Undertale could save him. Undertale saved me when I was like 12, because that's when it was released. I was like 12. Yeah. Yeah, what do you guys think Sinclair and Damien would be like playing Undertale? Do you think they would instantly go genocide route? Probably not, right? Do you think they would instantly go pacifist route? Probably also not, right? Actually, Damien would be like, Sinclair, you know you can kill the enemies. And Sinclair would be like, no, I must give them mercy. And that's exactly how it would go. Trust. I know these characters. I'm definitely not mischaracterizing them at all. Trust. Okay. As I have said, ingratitude seems to me nothing strange. Solely, the lack of curiosity I evinced is odd. How was it possible that I would continue for a single day my quiet mode of life without coming near to the secrets with which Damien had brought me in contact? How could I restrain the desire to hear more about Cain? I can't read today. I can't like speak. What is wrong with me? Oh my goodness gracious. More about Cromer, more about the thought reading. When I played Undertale, my first instinct was genocide, then getting stuck on sands for a week. Oh, I wonder what that says about you. I never have played Undertale myself. I've always watched people play Undertale. It was a time. It was funny. It was cool. Let's see. Everyone I know was really merciful, but I think that's just a thing when playing video games. Sinclair wants to go pacifist, but the moment an enemy has annoying attacks, he instantly kills them. Yeah. He's like really good at it, and Damien's like, oh, good job, Sinclair. And Sinclair's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting praised. Yeah. Growing up, I was a violent child, okay? You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. How could I restrain the desire to hear more about Cain, more about Cromer, more about the thought reading? It is scarcely comprehensible, and yet it is so. I suddenly saw myself extricated from the demoniacal toils, saw again the world lying bright and cheerful before me. I was no longer subject to paroxysms of fear. Paroxysms. I'm placing the emphasis on the wrong parts of the word. The curse was broken. I was no longer a tormented and condemned creature. I was a schoolboy again. My temperament sought to regain its equilibrium and tranquility as quickly as possible, and so I took pains above all things to put behind me all that had been ugly and menacing, and to forget it. The whole long story of my guilt, of my terrifying anxiety, slipped from my memory wonderfully quick, apparently without having left behind any scars or impressions whatsoever. The fact that I likewise tried as quickly to forget my helper and deliverer, I understand today as well. Instinctively, my mind turned from the damning recollection of my awful servitude under Cromer, and I sought to recover my former happy, contented mental outlook, to regain that lost paradise which opened once more to me, the bright father and mother world, where my sisters dwelt in the fragrant atmosphere of purity, and loving kindness such as God had extended to Abel. On the very next day after my short conversation with Damien, when I was at last fully convinced of my newly born freedom and feared no longer a relapse to my condition of slavery, I did what I had so often and so ardently desired to do. I confessed. I went to Mother and showed her the little savings box with the broken lock, filled with toy mark pieces instead of with real money, and I told her how long I had been in the thrall of an evil tormentor, although through my own guilt. She did not understand everything, but she saw the money box, she saw my altered look, and heard my changed voice. She felt that I was healed, and that I had been restored to her. And then, with lofty feelings, I celebrated my readmission into the family, the prodigal son's return home. Mother took me to father. The story was repeated. Questions and exclamations of wonder followed in quick succession. Both parents stroked my hair and breathed deeply, as in relief from a long oppression. It was all lovely, like the stories I had read. All discords were resolved in a happy ending. I surrendered myself passionately to this harmonious state of affairs. I could not have enough of the idea that I was again free and trusted by my parents. I was a model boy at home and played more frequently than ever with my sisters. At prayers I sang the dear, old hymns with the blissful feelings of one converted and redeemed. It came straight from my heart. It was no lie this time. And yet, it was not at all as it should have been. And this is the point which alone can truly explain my forgetfulness of Damien. I ought to have made a confession to him. The confession would have been less touchy and less specious, but for me it would have borne more fruit. I was now clinging fast to my... I'm so congested right now. I was now clinging fast to my former paradisical world. I had returned home and had been received in grace. But Damien belonged in no wise to this world. He did not fit into it. He also, in a different way from Cromer, but nevertheless he also was a seducer. He too bound me to the second evil bad world, and of this world I never wanted to hear anything more. I could not now, and I did not wish to give up Abel to help to glorify Cain, and now when I myself had again become an Abel. Oh my god. Tripping over my words, but it's okay. Blah. Blah 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 blah. Ahem. Ahem ahem ahem. So much for the outward correlation of events, but inwardly it was like this. I had been freed from the hands of Cromer and the devil, but not through my own strength and effort. I had ventured a footing on the paths of the world, and they had been too slippery for me. Now that the grasp of a friendly hand had saved me, I ran back, without another glance around, to my mother's lap, to the protecting, godly, and tender security of childhood. I made myself younger, more dependent on others, more childlike than I really was. I had to replace my dependence on Cromer by a new one, since I was powerless to strike out for myself. So I chose, in the blindness of my heart, the dependence on father and mother, of the old, beloved, bright world, on this world which I knew already was not the sole one. Had I not done this, I should have had to hold to DEMIAN, to entrust myself to him. The fact that I did not appeared to me then to be due to justifiable distrust of his strange ideas. In reality, it was due to nothing else than fear, for DEMIAN would have required more of me than my parents, much more. By stimulation and exhortation, by scorn and irony, he would have tried to make me more independent. Alas, I know that today, nothing in this world is so distasteful to man as to go the way which leads to himself. And yet, about half a year later, I could not resist the temptation to ask my father while we were out for a walk, what was to be made of the fact that many people declared Cain to be better than Abel. He was much surprised, and explained to me that this was a conception by no means novel. It had even emerged in the early Christian area. I meant to say era, what the heck? And had been professed by sects, one of which was called the Cainites. But naturally this foolish doctrine was nothing else than an attempt of the devil to undermine our belief. For if one believes that Cain was right and Abel was wrong, then it follows that God has erred, and that the God of the Bible is not the true and only God, but a false one. The Cainites really used to profess and preach something approximating this doctrine, but this heresy vanished from among mankind a long time ago, and he wondered the more that a school friend that had been able to learn something on the subject. Nevertheless, he earnestly exhorted me not to let these ideas occupy my attention. We did it! Chapter 2! Done! 52 minutes in, just like last time. Let's see. If that took 47 minutes, then that probably means that this next part will also take 47 minutes. It seems like a pretty long chapter though. Actually it's not too long. It's only like 30-ish pages. But it's still a bit of a ways. So, I don't know. Do you guys feel like maybe we could like stop midway through chapter 3, but I don't like stopping midway through chapters. So, I don't know. We could leave chapter 3 for next time. What are you guys thinking? How many chapters are there total? I was thinking like a chapter a stream, and there are currently, I say currently as if this is going to be updated. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters. Let's see. Last time we only read the first chapter. This time we also just read chapter 2. So I don't know what you guys think. I could like make up for not reading this chapter by making another DEMIAN reading stream next week. I also want to read Hellscreen at some point and maybe get back to Distortion Detective, but I don't know what you guys think. So what are the thoughts today? While you guys discuss that, I drink water and reapply my lip balm because my lips are chapped. Hem. Do. Do whatever you find funniest. We could just end here, and I could do my mirror dungeons or something for like 30 minutes straight. I don't know, but I don't think that would necessarily be the most fulfilling. I want to get to like at least an hour. I'm up for anything because they're good bedtime stories for me due to time zones. What else could we read? We could read fanfiction. No, we couldn't. We could do some of my uptie stories that I need to do. We could do that. What if I open Limbus Company right now? Who's gonna stop me? Who is going to stop me? Nobody, that's who. Let's see. Do. Why can't we read fanfics? We could write fanfiction. Hoxx Reader. Thank you guys for being the way you are. I guess we're gonna do this. I guess we're doing this now. We're closing the Limbus Company. We're writing fanfiction now. I guess. Let's close this, close this, close this. Don't save. Close this. Save. I have so many notes open. Oh, I found the viewer fanfiction thing. Let's add a new file there. And then do. Okay. What are our thoughts? What fanfiction are we straight up fanfictioning today? How did we get here? Let's see. Okay. Can I see you guys? I guess not. Maybe the thing won't load? Okay. Correct it. Okay. What kind of fanfiction are we writing? Hi guys, I'm Sinclair. Said Sinclair. Straight up Sinclairing it. I found the viewer fanfic so casually is crazy. Yeah. Alright guys, review my Totally Not Mary Sue. She can do anything and never gets hurt and has an IQ of 3 billion. That's good. That's good. Nice OC. But my OC is better because my OC, my OC can not only do anything, but she can do everything and she never gets hurt and she has an IQ of 4 billion. Huh. Smut, who said that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on, I got you. I got you. Hi Sinclair, said Damian. Oh my god, Damian, said Sinclair. And then they banged. Your Mary Sue OC is Reginald? Reginald is absolutely a Mary Sue. I was gonna say she's not, but she absolutely is. Who am I kidding? She's always nice to everyone, and everyone loves her, and she's super powerful and rich and pretty. Like, yeah, Reginald is my Mary Sue OC. Sinclair was just a normal quirkless boy before one day he encountered the hero Hawks Damian. Wait, hold on. Let me retcon the story. Retcon the story. Hi, Sinclair, said Damian. Oh my god, Damian, said Sinclair. I am the hero, Hawks. Did you know that? He asked. And by he, I mean Damian. No way. You're my fave hero ever! Exclamation point. Sinclair screamed. Screamed. Can we make out? Yes. And then they made out. And also banged. The end. Do we like the new fanfiction now? I should mention this is their Limbus versions, not their book versions. My OC's got it rough. I have put them through literal hell. I used to do actually my old Danganronpa OCs went through it. My current Danganronpa OCs are dead, and I don't have any Danganronpa OCs anymore. The only OC I have is Rena and like the various like derivations of them. Anyways, yes. So the full fanfiction is: Hi guys, I'm Sinclair, said Sinclair, straight up Sinclairing it. Hi Sinclair, said Damian. Oh my god, Damian, said Sinclair. I am the hero Hawks. Did you know that? He asked, and by he I mean Damian. No way, you're my favorite hero ever, Sinclair screamed. Can we make out? Yes. And then they made out, and also banged. The end. You should play the 100 line one day. What is that? Time to look it up. Last event. Oh, Danganronpa like 4? Is that what it's called? Is that what the kids call it? Danganronpa 4? You forgot to add Sinclair. Oh my god, I did. I can't believe this. How could I ever forget? By the way, Sinclair was there. Yay. Okay. The newest game by the creators of Danganronpa. It's actually amazing. Amazing in the way that it's Danganronpa, or amazing in the way, or like actually good game. It has 100 endings and the roots are like actual visual novels on themselves. That sounds terrifying. I'm going to add it to my wish list because that sounds absolutely terrifying. Amazing period. I see. La la la. La 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 la. The 100. Da da da. Add to wish list. there is a demo. What if we played the demo one day? Hoo-hoo. Not now, but one day. It's also made by the guys behind Zero Escape. Wait, that's so good. Wait, that's kind of tempting now. As they ride onto the vast desert plain, the sight before them was desolate. This was the base of Old Age Core. This was what was left of Garion's slaughter. Wow, I didn't know that the fanfic would just be Lobotomy Corporation. How good are you with horror games? Bad. I'm terrible with horror games. I start crying. I can't even do repo properly, guys. I like freak out when I'm the last person in repo. I freak out when there's monsters in repo. Like with repo, I literally die so fast. I fold so fast. It's not even funny. You get an actual branching tree to navigate the timelines. Oh, nice. So like Detroit become human? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, that is what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Let's see. We did hit an hour. I don't know if you guys want me to like continue the stream, but Detroit? Yeah, Detroit become human mention. I know, and the big 2025 is crazy. But yeah, Dory-Torrent. Detroit? The Dory-Torrent? Yes, Dory-Torrent. Dory-Torrent become human. Yep. I've only played it once, and that was with a bunch of friends. It's up to you. I don't know, because I don't want to stray too far from the actual Demian reading stream, but at the same time, I don't feel like reading more of the book because I like to limit it to one chapter per stream. But otherwise, I don't know. What are our thoughts? I'm thinking about just ending it, and then I can work on like some things for today. I still need to do my second Limbus video for today. I also for those who were there during the Hinge stream, time to go completely to the left and play Limbus Company game. Oh no, I have to do my mirror dungeons. Oh no, I do actually need to do my mirror dungeons for the week. Oopsie daisy, and play the story. Spooky, scary. I mean, I could, because I don't have this set up as a Limbus stream, so I imagine that all the like annoying people would be would like not be here. I think I should download the 100-line demo. I could add to library. Do I have any friends who have played this? I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, none of my, actually no, one friend owns the game. Yeah, who caught the Demian reading. What's really funny is that we were actually just about to end, and we wrote fanfiction. We wrote bad fanfiction. It's Cospo, by the way. Hi! We, in fact, finished the chapter we were going to read, so we are going to, in fact, be ending soon so that I don't drag this out too long. I say dragging it out too long. I think we should just hide the Limbus gameplay behind these streams. We could, so no one finds out. We could, and I just make it super Sinclair-centric. Oh, yeah, oh, speaking of which, where was I? Oh yeah, the Hinge stream. I finally clipped and edited the clip of the whole video. I'm like debating when to post it though, so I don't know. I might do it today, I might do it tomorrow, I might do it the day after, I don't know. But yeah, I'm so sorry, Cospa. This is why we should, guys, this is probably why we should, this is a sign that we should end. If I'm not going to read more of the thing, I should end now. So I'm going to end. I'm going to record the second part of the interview because I still need to finish the interview. I shall be mid-hair posting about this on main, just so you know. Nay, I just, you could. It's okay, you still have the VOD where I trip over my words about 50 million times because freaking 1900 speak is, why is it always, it's always like that. It's always like, woo, I'm from the 1900s, blah 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 blah, I speak all funny. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, that was a really gross wet noise. Yeah. What are we thinking? We're ending, right? Fancy speaking. Yeah, they always have like fancy speech because it's the 1900s and no one can speak like straightforward. They always have to be so roundabout in their speaking. They're double negatives and stuff. Like, man, just speak normally. But then again, that was normal for them. It's fine. Just seem fine patronage enough to brighten my day, Sire Renata. I wish you good farewell on Thine Adventures. Thank you. So I think this is a sign to end now. So I will be doing that. This isn't going to be like yesterday's Irium stream where I keep carrying it on. Speaking of which, Irium's gonna be today at like 3:30 or something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I am going to for real end now. Yeah. See you guys tomorrow when we play. what's it called? What are we playing tomorrow? Tomorrow is going to be Twitch. We're going to be playing Apollo Justice again. Because that's always fun. And I just love you, not romantically, unless just kidding. Don't you literally have a girlfriend? Don't love me romantically. That's bad for you. Yeah. Okay, that is all. See you guys tomorrow, and if not, then we're doing Cyberpunk 2077 on YouTube on Friday, so that's fun. Okay, goodbye everyone, but like for real this time, let me find the ending screen. Okay, rotation. Okay, goodbye, but for real this time.